Imagine a ship slowly taking on water. That ship is our current financial system. Most people keep buying tickets, hoping for a comfortable ride and a profit at the end. But if few see the iceberg ahead, to them, buying Bitcoin isn't about getting a first-class seat on the ship. It's about finding a lifeboat. In other words, Bitcoin is not a bet on returns. It's an escape hatch from a collapsing system. You're not investing in the traditional sense. You're opting out and reclaiming your freedom. We've all been taught that an investment is something like a stock or a bond. You put your money in and expect more money out. These traditional investments depend on trusted intermediaries and stable conditions. They're tied to corporations or governments, influenced by the interest rates and policies. In fact, investments are stocks, bonds, ETFs, just controlled by markets, manipulated by institutions, and influenced by inflation, interest rates, and government policy. Bitcoin turns this idea on its head. It isn't a company or a stock and doesn't play by those rules. Unlike traditional assets, Bitcoin has no centralized authority at all. No CEO or corporation that can cook the books or get bailed out by a government. No borders or restrictions. It works globally for anyone and anywhere. No middleman who can freeze your account or take a cut. No central bank that can print more of it and devalue your savings. Bitcoin doesn't ask for permission to exist. It exists whether you believe in it or not. That makes it fundamentally different from an investment that relies on someone else's promise. Bitcoin is often called freedom tech because it's designed to empower individuals rather than institutions. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, banks were bailed out and economies teetered on collapse. This was exactly the world in which Bitcoin was born. It's no coincidence that the very first block of Bitcoin's blockchain, known as the Genesis block, contains a hidden message. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. This was a headline from The Times on January 3, 2009, and many interpret it as Satoshi Nakamoto's commentary on a broken system. Bitcoin's creation was a direct response to a world where government print money to rescue banks, while ordinary people suffer the consequences. It was built as a plan B, a way to opt out of the old game. Think of the countless times and places fiat money has failed people, from Weimar Germany to hyperinflation in Venezuela. When a national currency collapses or banks freeze withdrawals, people aren't worried about stock portfolios. They're worried about survival. This is where Bitcoin steps in as a lifeline. As one individual once said, Bitcoin is a lifeline in disguise. For people in collapsing economies, for those locked out of the banking system, for anyone tired of being told your funds are frozen. In countries facing crises, people have turned to cryptocurrencies to preserve their wealth and transact when the banks or local currency couldn't be trusted. Bitcoin provides an exit, a way to keep value out of the reach of failing banks and hyperinflationary governments. Most crucially, Bitcoin's supply is capped at 21 million, so it can't be inflated away by political decisions or central bank whims. This gives it a built-in resistance to the collapse mechanisms of fiat money. In a world where central banks print trillions and erode your purchasing power, holding Bitcoin is like owning an asset with an inflation shield. It's not about getting rich quick. It's not about being impoverished slowly by a bad system. As some Bitcoin advocates say, the true value of Bitcoin isn't in the price. It's in what it protects you from. Because Bitcoin operates outside the old system, the mindset around it is very different. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme or speculative stock you flip for profit. In fact, if you approach Bitcoin with a day trader mentality, such as when do I buy, when do I sell, you're absolutely missing the bigger picture. You don't buy low, sell high with Bitcoin like it's just some shitcoin. Instead, you accumulate it and hold it because the real return is in sovereignty. The payoff is measured in freedom and security, not the dollars and cents on a quarterly statement. Bitcoin isn't a symptom of decline, it's the cure. In other words, Bitcoin is a solution to the very problems that make the legacy system feel like it's sinking. It allows you to store your wealth in a form that governments and banks cannot easily seize, freeze, or devalue. For example, Bitcoin is not tied to Wall Street, not controlled by central banks, not created through debt. It's everything the empire cannot print, inflate, or manipulate. By holding Bitcoin, you take custody of your own wealth. No bureaucrat or banker can debase it by creating more of it, and no third party can tell you, no, you can't access your money today. This is what people mean by financial sovereignty. You are in full control. This idea of sovereignty goes beyond the technical. It touches on human dignity and freedom. It's your money and your future in your own hands. Bitcoin is not just about beating inflation or outperforming Wall Street. It's about dignity. It's about sovereignty. It's about creating a world where value can't be stolen. This is a radically different ethos from the usual investing mindset. It's almost spiritual. You're choosing a form of money that aligns with fairness and freedom, rather than one that serves the powers that be. In a way, adopting Bitcoin can feel like a peaceful rebellion, a step toward a future where your economic life isn't at the mercy of distant authorities. When you buy Bitcoin, you're not investing in the way people invest in stocks or real estate. You're exiting. You're taking a step away from a financial system that you believe is unsustainable and stepping into a new paradigm that operates on different principles. It's an act of reclaiming freedom and control. Bitcoin does not equal investment. Bitcoin equals exit from fiat slavery. You're effectively saying, I opt out of a rigged game. This is why many Bitcoiners speak with almost religious conviction. There's a sense of hope and empowerment that comes from converting your work and saving into something that you believe that can't be diluted or censored. It's about trusting math and code over politicians and banks. It's about the principle that money should serve people, not trap them. In practical terms, it might mean enduring price volatility in the short term, but doing so because you see it as buying insurance against the ultimate failure of the legacy system. To flip the narrative, Bitcoin is not a gamble on gaining wealth. It's a safeguard against losing wealth and freedom that you already have. It's like leaving a crumbling city for higher ground. When the masses realize the old city is unstable, you'll already be secure. Many critics see the collapse coming, yet miss the exit sign flashing in orange behind them. Bitcoin isn't the distraction, it's the lifeboat. In a burning building, finding the exit isn't an investment strategy, it's a survival strategy. In the same way, stacking Satoshis is a strategy to survive and thrive in whatever may come. Ultimately, calling Bitcoin an investment is like calling a parachute an investment. The term just doesn't fit. A parachute is an exit tool, something you're grateful to have when you need it. Bitcoin is a tool for exiting a broken monetary system and entering a new one. Its value isn't measured only in ROI percentages. It's measured in personal sovereignty and peace of mind. When you hold Bitcoin, you hold the keys to your own financial freedom. No permission required, no middleman in the way. So the next time someone asks why you're buying Bitcoin, you might answer, I'm not investing, I'm opting out. I'm securing a lifeboat while the band plays on. I'm choosing a money that can't be debased, choosing freedom over fear. In short, buying Bitcoin isn't an investment, it's an exit, and perhaps the most important one of our lifetime. After all, you don't invest in freedom, you claim it.